Okay, here we've got the Rebel Commander. So this one I just got, it's AFA 75, oh sorry, UKG, sorry. Figure gets 75%, paint 80%, Star Wars Rebel Commander Lili-Ledy 1980, no country of origin. So this is the Mexican version, and this is from childhood, this is the Hong Kong version. So if you look carefully you can see a few differences, like you can see that this Mexican version's got a lot longer moustache. The brown on the scarf's a slightly different colour, it's a more of a sort of brownish grey, whereas this is a more of a mid-brown, and the skin texture is slightly different. Other differences are, if you look here, there's a few stripes there, 1, 2, 3, and this one hasn't got, it's only got one stripe there, so that's one difference. What other differences are there? The mid-torso of this figure is quite brown as well, or yellowed slightly. The boots as well, you can see that the Mexican ones, the Lili-Ledy boots, are a lot darker than these boots here, the Hong Kong ones, which are a lot more of a tannish colour. Also unique to this figure, the Mexican version, was he came with Chewbacca's bowcaster as his weapon, whereas this figure comes with the weapon that we all know, which is sort of like a machine gun almost, with a strap. Back of the figures pretty similar. Nothing I can really see that makes them stand out different. They say the Mexican version's got the brown bit of the scarf there is a lot more fuller, but I can't really see that. They look pretty much the same. Detailing's the same on the backs of the figure. So this is your Lili-Ledy version made in Mexico, and this is your Hong Kong version. So you can see a few differences, especially the moustache, the stripes around the lower region of the jacket. This piece of equipment there, this black thing, is continuous on the Lili-Ledy version. It looks the same on this version though. So that's your Mexican version, and that's your Hong Kong version. Quite a nice figure this. Just a nondescript rebel soldier really. The only thing that makes him stand out is the moustache. There's a few variations with the moustache. So you've got that sort of moustache there, and that sort of longer, more Latino looking one, which is quite appropriate because this is a Mexican figure. Okay, and the Mexican one looks slightly more tanned. And there's a look at the Chewbacca bowcaster. See if I can get a better look at it. There you see it. So that's the weapon this figure comes with. Okay, Mexican figures are really rare, and on cards they go for a fortune. You're talking minimum about £400 to £500, so you need big money to collect Mexican stuff. Okay, and that's mainly because it's so popular in the USA, so they've driven prices up. Where there's other South American stuff that's not quite as expensive, but still pretty hard to find. Anyhow, so that's your Lili-Ledy made in Mexico Rebel Commander with Chewbacca's bowcaster. UK graded 75, figure 75, paint 80. Even finding this would be pretty tough. I mean, I'm sure you can find them loose. And then you've got the Hong Kong. This one again is from childhood. Nice figure. Five points of articulation. And the same with this one. So it's your Lili-Ledy Rebel Commander. And you can just about spot the differences. Okay, cheers, bye. Okay, here we've got a Bespin Luke. This is the Lili-Ledy version made in Mexico, and it's only UK AFA 60 I think. or UKG, AFA. 1980 Lili-Ledy Star Wars loose action figure, Luke Bespin figure, fatigues, brown hair, raised bar, country of origin, 60, excellent. But it's quite a rare figure, so even if it's a 60, it's still a nice item to have. And it comes with the Bespin blaster instead of the Han blaster. Yellow lightsaber. If you notice, the thumb's got a lot of paint missing there. So this is the Mexican version of Luke Bespin, made in Mexico. There's the back of the figure. Here's the Hong Kong version to compare it to. Made in Hong Kong. This one has a raised bar. There it is. You can just about pick it out. On the back of the leg, there's a little bar there, or scar. Boots are slightly different colour. Hong Kong's a bit more tan. Hair's similar colour. Okay, both 1980 date stamp. Oh man, not easy with a broken arm. Okay, so this is Luke Bespin, made in Mexico, Lili-Ledy version. There's his lightsaber. AFA 60. And there's the Hong Kong version and the Mexican version. This is the one from my childhood, the Hong Kong version. You can definitely see colour difference in the boots. Okay, so that's your Lili-Ledy Mexican Luke Bespin, which came with the Bespin blaster and the yellow lightsaber. Nice thing to have. Got it at what I think is a good price. Nice item. And there's the Hong Kong version. Luke Bespin's one of the most popular figures. Okay, you can see slight difference in the hair colour as well. This one's a bit more gingerish. But otherwise there's not much difference really. So here's your Mexican version. Lili-Ledy, Luke Bespin, made in Mexico. Okay, cheers, bye. Okay, so this is the Vader I was telling you about. This is the Return of the Jedi 65 back B Darth Vader, 1983. It's got the second picture on it, which this picture looks amazing. So it's got pinkish purplish tint to it, looks really good though. And there's the figure, Darth Vader on a Return of the Jedi 1983 card. So what Kenner did back in the day was to some of the older figures that have been around since the Star Wars time, they decided to update the pictures. So they did that for the Vader, the Han Solo, the Luke Skywalker. They didn't do it for Princess Leia, they did it also for Chewbacca. And who else? Let me think. I should know these. I've talked about it anyhow on one of my Han Solo reviews, because I've got the Han Solo with the updated picture as well. So they just did it to refresh the line, and this picture looks amazing. It's the same figure though. And on the back you've got a 65 back US Kenner card with the pop at the bottom. And what's interesting about this is, I don't know if you can just about focus on that. Let me see. It says made in Mexico. I don't know if it was carded in Mexico. The card doesn't look like the stock might be the Mexican type. It might have been carded in America or Mexico, who knows. The figure was definitely made in Mexico, and if you go on sites about, just Google Lili-Ledy Darth Vader, and this will tell you how to recognize the Darth Vader figure, the Mexican version, from the more common Hong Kong version. So with this version, you've got, if you notice the stomach panel there, the chest panel, the paint works a lot less than on the regular version. The buttons are slightly smaller, so that's one way of telling that's a Mexican Ledi figure. The other thing is the helmet. In side profile it's more pronounced, and that's another way of recognizing the Mexican Darth Vader. And the final way of telling is, if you look at the lightsaber, it's really thick and bright, so the Mexican Lili-Ledy figures have a thick blade. So those are the three things you've got to look for. You've got to look for the chest plate, the sculpt on the head, the actual mask, the lower part of the jaw almost sticks out, it's more pronounced, and the thickness of the lightsaber. And then of course the manufacturing on the leg, that's another giveaway. So if you just go on Google and just say Ledy Darth Vader, and you'll find out how to, there's sites that are devoted. Rebel Scum, they have a good thing about it as well. So if you go on Rebel Scum, they can tell you about the Darth Vader. So this is the second picture, and there's the back again. Okay, here's a Mexican Lili-Ledy, just the card back of Princess Leia in battle poncho, but it says there in Capa de Combate, and there's the logo, Return of the Jedi in Mexican, El Regreso del Jedi, or Spanish, sorry, and writing in Spanish or Mexican, and then you've got you can see some damage to where the bubble was taken off. And then you can see the Lili-Ledy logo there, and I've got this from America. Got it. If you go on eBay and just type Ledy Star Wars, you'll see how much these cards go for. So I think I won this in an auction and got it for about, in English money, about £20, £25 maximum. But that just shows you how rare these cards are. There is on eBay at the moment a carded one of these, with the bubble and the figure, and that's going for about 650 quid. So you want to check that out. But Mexican stuff is really expensive. So there you go, Lili-Ledy. There's the famous logo. You can see the hole where they punch the holes in the backs of the cards. Maybe the Mexicans believe to let the spirits of the figures out. Who knows why? But that's a nice rare thing, this is. If you want one of these carded, you're going to pay big bucks. There's a Luke Jedi a Lili-Ledy card, that's about 1,500 or something like that. I think that's in pounds as well, so you're talking big money. Okay, here's the back of the card. So Ledy cards are very plain on the back, and you can see all the different characters. This is a very famous image. Very card specific, country specific. And just underneath the Jawa is where the hole is. And there's all the figures. So there's Leia in combat gear, and then the back of the card, the disclaimer and all that sort of stuff. So this is a very rare thing. Very nice. Lili-Ledy, Mexico. Okay, one more look at the back of the card. And there you go. Okay. Okay, this is the Ewoks from 1985, the TV show. So this was a cartoon show along with droids, and Kenner, the Star Wars line was dying, so they put quite a bit of hope in these figures to keep the Star Wars line going. So they came with coins. These ones are sort of a bronze colour. So it says Ewok Shaman Logray. It's upside down. And then you've got the actual figure there. So it's done in a cartoon style, just like the sort of new Clone Wars figures. They've got that sort of pay homage to the style of the Clone Wars TV series. So these were done in a style that was similar to the cartoon style. I've never seen the Ewoks cartoon. We had droids in England, but I can't, as far as I can remember, we never had the Ewoks. This is graded 70, so the card is 70, bubbles 85, figures 90. Hardly cost anything, this, really cheap. It's got a line going across it there, and as it's under the bubble, this must have been done at the factory, this line there, so there's nothing that can be done about that line. It hasn't been done since, because it's under the bubble. It was done at the point of manufacture. But you know what a-holes AFA are like, so they're going to take big points off the card for that. And there you have to look at Logray. He actually looks like a friend of mine. He's got a beard, has eyes like that, sees himself as a sort of wise holy man, just like Logray here, so I'm not going to say his name, but he really does resemble this character here. So there you are. Comes in a blue cloak, grey beard, pink legs, little pouch where he keeps his herbs and stuff, just like my mate does, and then you've got a some sort of what would you call that? A stick with horns on it or whatever. It's a sort of shaman stick for performing magical incantations. And there you go. One eye's bigger than the other, so he's been on a heavy session, this guy. There you go. So you got Logray, Ewok Medicine Man, and looks really different to the original vintage figure. So still got the animal head on his hat, the skull there. So there you are. Okay. And it's from the TV series. There's Canadian cards as well. This is the American card. This one's made in Mexico. So the card on the back, because I've got a couple of other Ewoks. This card here, the back, the quality of the card, the finish of the cardboard is just way inferior. So it looks like this card was made in Mexico as well, if I hazard a guess correctly. It says just in the corner, it says made in Mexico, just below the pop. And so I guess this was made in the famous Lili-Ledy, or however you pronounce that, factory. And the figure's definitely made in Mexico. So as it's stated there, I assume that it was carded in Mexico as well, because the quality of the card leaves a lot to be desired. So I think if it was carded in America, it'd have been a much better card, because the other two Ewoks I've got, or three Ewoks I've got, they're much nicer cards. Like the backs are a lot more glossy, whereas this one's kind of faded. So okay, the memory card cut out again, so I had to upload the pictures onto the computer. So this is back to the Ewok Logray. So I was saying that this is most likely, this was carded in Mexico as well, and that scratch there, you can see it as follow my finger, that was done in the factory. So that's something that, you know, that is why the card got a 70 in its grade. Yep, C70. So, and the figure was made in Mexico as well. So I think all these Ewoks figures are made in Mexico. It's just where they were carded. This one was most likely carded in Mexico as well because it's a poor quality card. And I've got another Powder Force figure Ewok to show you in a minute, and that was also made in Mexico, and the card on that is also very similar to this. It's got that sort of matte, almost faded back, and I'll show you that. Okay, so continuing on from Logray the Ewok, which was on an Ewok card, this is a Lumat on the Powder Force card. I've got him on Tri-Logo as well, and this figure was definitely made in Mexico, and the card definitely has a sort of inferior feel to it, so I reckon it was also made in Mexico. Notice that the coin has sellotape on it, so it was taped in. I've never seen that on any other Powder Force cards. This card feels rough. Most other US Powder Force cards feel smooth, this one feels rough. And the card stock just seems inferior, which would suggest that it comes from an inferior country like Mexico. Only joking. And well, you know, it was carded in in Mexico, Lili-Ledy or whatever it's called. I mean, there's been a few of them on eBay, a couple of Lumats on the actual Lili-Ledy card, and they've gone. One finishes tomorrow, and the other one was really battered, but that went for about 160 quid. So very rare, never come up. Mexican cards, they're really highly prized amongst collectors. And so here's the back of the card. You see it looks kind of faded. That's just the card stock. It's just exactly like the Ewok card as well. They're both like really inferior card stocks, and so I would hazard the guess and say that these both are carded in Mexico, and so hence their inferior quality. And you know, but it's nice because I mean it's impossible to get any real carded Lili-Ledy stuff unless you're mega rich. So, you know, and it hardly ever comes up as well. I mean, just the cards by themselves without the figure attached go for about a couple of hundred. So that's crazy, a couple of hundred quid. So that's just mad. Okay, so it says it's made in Mexico down there. I took a picture, so that should come up. So made in Mexico, and typical Powder Force back Collector 92. The only one's missing Yak Face because he was only sold in Canada. Okay, so one more look at Lumat on the Powder Force card. I guess all the Powder Force Lumats are on this sort of card, the Mexican card. Let me know if anyone's got one that's on a sort of higher gloss card, which would indicate that it comes from the US rather than Mexico. And nice figure though, cards in pretty good nick, and the bubble's pretty clear, or very clear, and the figure looks pretty decent, and the coin is rather nice. So a nice Powder Force card, Kenner, 1985. So this card I reckon was carded in Mexico, but I can't be sure about that. But it does say the figure was made in Mexico. So, and because the card feels different to any other Powder Force card I've got, then I reckon is a Mexican card. Anyway, time to go because the memory card's running out. Okay, so if you like this, subscribe, rate, whatever. Thanks for watching, take care, see you later. Okay, here we got a droids R2D2 from 1988. It's the Brazilian version, so this is the Glasslite lighty version. You can just see the logo right in the bottom corner there, Glasslite or Glasslite. It's AFA graded. It's got card 70, bubble 85, figure 85. So there's a bit of veining, quite a bit, very faint, but a sort of crease along the midline of this card. So this is a Brazilian card, the R2D2 droids version. So it's just like the vintage, normal vintage figures, except it's been painted different. And this is the version with the lightsaber, pop-out lightsaber, and he's got a big red eye. And then you've got the quite a nice piece of artwork on the card. So this is a generic card. All Brazilian droids figures that have come with the same card. The only difference is the sticker that they stick here, where it says R2D2. You've got Vlix there. He's the most famous Brazilian figure. He's probably most likely the rarest Star Wars figure. So the guy behind C-3PO with the greenish face, that's Vlix. You've got Boba Fett in the background as well. You've got C-3PO and R2D2. And you've got some added scenes here. At the top you've got Vlix again and Tig From, I guess, and then you've got George Dusat, or whatever his name is, and then you've got the droids logo at the top, and there you go. I've just been watching a few of the droid episodes on YouTube, so they're pretty definitely aimed at kids. Okay, so here you've got the back of the card. You've got the same image in the top corner, plus the logo again, then some Brazilian, Portuguese, I guess. The figures that were available, you've got C-3PO, R2D2, Thal Jobin, Kiamol, Kazeban, George Dusat, and of course the most famous is Vlix there. He is virtually impossible to get, and he'll cost a huge amount of money. And you've got two of the vehicles that were available. You've got the ATL and the thing there, side gunner, I think that's what it's called. Okay, so there you go. This is the Glasslite Brazilian Star Wars action figure. It's pretty rare. I mean, you don't get many Glasslite figures coming up. There you can get Power of the Force cards as well. These are the last of the vintage line figures, so this is where the sort of demarcation is drawn between vintage and modern figures, because these came out in 1988. So this is the sort of last hurrah, as they would say, for vintage figures back in a long time ago. And then you had to wait another 7 years before Kenner re-released the Power of the Force, or brought out new figures in '95. So there you go, R2D2. It's also got a different sticker to it compared to the vintage figure. I mean, the regular R2D2 has got a sort of droid style sticker, plus it hasn't got a silver chromish effect on its dome. It's got a sort of a flat grey with the red eye and the green lightsaber. You can just see it sticking out just there. The lightsaber's just there. Okay, so here you are, Brazilian Star Wars figure from 1988. Okay, Brazilian Glasslite Star Wars George Dusat, nice figure, pretty rare. I think the Power of the Force figures are a bit more common, but it's hard to really tell because, you know, coming from South America. Really nice. Look at the logo there, and you know, nice thing. Okay. Here we got a Brazilian Glasslite droids figure from 1988. It's called George Dusat, and these are the last of the vintage figures from 1988. Okay, my battery's nearly running out. Okay, so you can see it's got TV toys there, and the picture shows Vlix there. He's a very famous figure. And you've got the figure here, George Dusat, really nice. And there's Brazilian logo there, Usted, all Portuguese writing up there. I'll show you the back of the card. My battery's about to run out. And there's the back of the card. It shows you Star Wars droids, Adventures R2-D2, C-3PO, Vlix, C-3PO, Boba Fett, the C-3PO. So these are all made in Brazil. These are all Brazilian figures. That's Vlix, one of probably the most rarest Star Wars figure ever, or one of the most desired. Up there with maybe a telescoping Ben or telescoping Darth Vader. And some of the vehicles that were available at the time. There's the Glasslite logo and some writing in Portuguese. Can't speak Portuguese, so it's no good to me. And let's see if we can see the date, 19. At the time these were made, there was a lot of problems in Brazil, so there's like political upheaval and stuff like that. I showed recently a Luke Skywalker Glasslite card. I've also got this R2-D2 and a Glasslite card. On the same droids cards, the Luke's on the Power of the Force card. So a really nice item. George Usted on his Brazilian Glasslite card. Really nice item. Okay. My battery's going to run out, so there you go. Okay, so I've shown you the Yak Face tri-logo, which was mega expensive. The TIE Bomber, which is one of the holy grails of Star Wars collecting. And now, here's a Stormtrooper on what ostensibly looks like it's a Kenner card, but it's not. It's a Top Toys card. So Top Toys was in 1983 they made they were in Argentina, they made some Star Wars figures. So if you notice at the top, it has Spanish writing up there. It says El Regreso del Jedi, whatever, and that's Spanish. And then it's the Stormtrooper there. It's not made in Hong Kong, it was made in Argentina. It's a they used the figure molds, and this figure is a totally inferior product. It's a South American figure, so it's similar to the Brazilian Glasslite figures, which were made later. They were made in about 88, 89, and it was the Brazilians that made the most famous, or probably the most expensive figure, which is Vlix, which was from the droids line. So it says this one's the Stormtrooper. Out of all the Top Toys figures, this one's the most common. This is the second one I've got. I bought one back in the maybe 94, 93. That card wasn't as good as this one. It had a sort of stickiness to it, and the figure's leg was a lot more browner. The browning of these Stormtrooper legs on the Argentine cards is very common. The gun is not like the Kenner gun. It's an inferior quality gun. It's not as detailed. I'll give you a close-up of that in a minute. So if you look at the top of the card, it says Top Toys just in both corners, and then it has the Return of the Jedi logo in Spanish, then Stormtrooper name. So that's pretty much similar, very similar to a US Kenner card, and it even has the Kenner logo there. So, and it says made by Top Toys, General Mills Incorporated Limited. This one's graded AFA. So the card gets a 85, the bubble gets a 85, and the figure gets an 80. And let's see if I can get a close-up of the gun to show you how different it is to the regular Kenner versions. The figure is totally different. They say it's smaller, and often it has a brown leg, and they don't have peg holes either. So as you can see, this one doesn't have peg holes. So, and this is the most common of the Argentine figures. So you might be able to track this down. You should be able to track it down. So I know Brian's Toys had quite a lot of these a couple of years ago. This one's an 85. It's near mint, so this is quite a high grade. And then the back of this is probably what's most interesting about the Argentine cards. It's a mixture of styles. It's got the picture from the 12 back cards there, so it's got the 12 figures there, and then at the bottom it's got the Jedi figures that you can get on it. So you could get Logway, Luke Skywalker, Jedi, Chief Chirpa, Yoda, and Lando in the skiff outfit. So it's got all the names here, and then a little description in Spanish, and then it's got the vintage, or the other figures that you could get, and descriptions of what you can get with them. So it's got, so according to this, you could get C-3PO, which I've never seen, Han Solo, never seen, Chewbacca, I'm not sure, I don't think I've seen that, R2-D2, or they call it R2-E2, Princess Leia, never seen, Stormtrooper, well I've got two of them, I have seen others, Darth Vader, I've got one loose, I mean carded but not graded. That's in a better condition than the first Stormtrooper I bought. You also get Ben Kenobi, Boba Fett as well, so never seen those.
if you go on to Star Wars Collector's Archive and try and find pictures of these, you won't be able to find pictures of many of these figures. So apart from the Stormtrooper, these are mega rare figures. The Vader, you might be able to, you might come across that as well. Then you've got the El Osito Ewok, so that one would be Chief Chirper. I think I've seen that once, and I had the chance to buy it, I didn't. So, and we're talking about the mid-90s. I turned my nose up against, I saw a Jawa on Tri-Logo. I didn't know it was what it's worth now, so it was probably only about 20 quid, and I just turned my nose up at it, because in those days Tri-Logos just didn't seem that hot. I mean, in those days I'd rather get a Jedi card, or a Kenner card, or a Palatoy card. If I only knew with hindsight how much the Jawa on the Tri-Logo is worth, but I just turned my nose up at it. Then you've got Luke, Jedi, you've got Yoda, even though he's an Empire Strikes Back figure, Logray, and Lando Calrissian. So if you want to find out more about these, go onto the Star Wars Collector's Archive, go to the foreign toys. They've got a brilliant section. They've got loads of stuff about the French stuff, the German stuff, the British Palatoy, Italian Harbour, and it's really worth checking out, and a little bit about these figures as well. So you'll find a picture of the Stormtrooper, you'll find a picture of Darth Vader and probably the Ewoks, but any of the other characters you won't find any pictures. So apart from the Stormtrooper, these are pretty rare. The card back, it's got the double line just like the 12 backs. So this is a sort of mixture of styles. It's got the Return of the Jedi type front, and then a sort of mixture of Jedi and the old Star Wars 12 back. So it's got the double lines, it's got the painting there, plus the figures there. So this is quite a nice thing to get in this condition, and it's a nice foreign card. I like foreign stuff, so I'm not gonna, and I think I paid quite a good price for it. So there you are, and then you can see the AFA hologram label, and it says 1983 Top Toys Star Wars Return of the Jedi. There's also Toll Toys, that's the Australian distributor, and those are mega rare. I've never seen any of that on eBay or at collector marts in the UK. So the Australian stuff, apart from the Power of the Force, Gamorrean Guard and the AT-AT Driver, and maybe the Nikto, apart from that I've never seen any Australian vintage figures in the UK. So those are probably the, I'd say, because I haven't got any, they're the rarest ones to get. So they are the Stormtrooper. So it's a slightly different sculpting to the regular US version or the Hong Kong version, and where you can see the eyes aren't so well painted, and the sculpting, there's a certain lack of detail, and the gun is a lot more just crude, it's simple. So that's your Argentine Stormtrooper. Strange that something, well, you know, like the two countries, the history of the Falklands, all that nonsense, so you know. Anyway, that's your Argentine Stormtrooper. Just one look at the back again. So you've got there, that's your Top Toys, there's the logo, Top Toys, two children joined together there. It even has the Luke and Leia logo that you used to get on the 12 backs. So that's pretty neat. So this is from South America. So if you're into foreign Star Wars, something you might want to start collecting or trying to track down if you're into foreign vintage. I like modern vintage as well. I've got quite a few Italian Power of the Force 2 figures. I really like them, and a lot of the British releases of the Power of the Force figures. So they're sort of a tri-logo card as well, plus a few of the Canadian ones. But back in the 80s and late 70s, there's a lot more variety in foreign cards, because you had Australians, you had German cards, you had Italian, you had French, all that sort of stuff. I really liked French as well. So plus Palatoy. So that's your Top Toys Stormtrooper. So let's just turn him around. There's a side view, and there you are. Let's see, and there's the AFA grade. There's the gun, which is totally much more simpler sculpt than the Kenner version. Same picture though, two stormtroopers. Okay, so the only picture variation you're going to get on the stormtrooper card is the tri-logo version, which just has one stormtrooper. So, you know, otherwise all cards have those two stormtroopers on them. From a scene from A New Hope, I showed last week, I think, a Kenner version of a 77 back stormtrooper on a Return of the Jedi card. So if you want to check that out and see how similar and different these two cards are, and the figures as well.